Hello, Kevin Huntington here, managing broker of Metro Home Connection Realty. And today I want to take a minute to talk about a topic you probably haven't heard very much about, and that is the concept of dual agency, which is a situation that arises not too uncommonly and will greatly affect and limit your real estate agent's ability to advocate for your exclusive interests in the purchase or sale of residential real estate. And to define what dual agency is in the state of Minnesota, I'm going to take the language directly from the Agency Relationships and Real Estate Transactions Disclosure Form, which includes the statutorily mandated language that must be given to buyers or sellers of residential real estate when they enter into a contract with the real estate brokerages and brokerage. And here's what it says. Dual agency. Dual agency occurs when one broker or salesperson represents both parties to a transaction, or when two salespersons licensed to the same broker each represent a party to the transaction. This role limits the level of representation the broker and salesperson can provide and prohibits them from acting exclusively for either party. Furthermore, dual agents may not advocate for one party to the detriment of the other. Now, when you think about when you're going to go hire a real estate agent to work for you, in addition to that person saying, hey, I'm smart and friendly, I know the area, undoubtedly you're going to hear that that agent is skilled at negotiating. And if you're trying to buy a house, that agent will try to get you the best price and the best terms and negotiate that inspection on your behalf to make sure you have the best outcome possible. And alternatively, if we're working with a seller's agent, that seller's agent will probably say the same thing in reverse, that they're going to work to get you the highest price on the house and the best terms and the best outcome based on the inspection that the buyer does. And if any issues arise between the purchase agreement and closing, they're going to be there to advocate for you and settle those issues in your best interests. Now, let's look back to the statutory language. Dual agents may not advocate for one party to the detriment of the other. Now, when we go back to the definition of dual agency, which means not just one agent working for both parties, that would probably be pretty obvious, and that does happen not uncommonly. But dual agency in the state of Minnesota occurs when even two salespersons from the same brokerage, the same real estate company, one of those agents represents the buyer, one of those agents represents the seller. So that is a dual agency situation under Minnesota law. And remember what that means. Even if you're working with your agent and that agent seems to be an exclusive buyer's agent, he or she has been showing you properties and maybe even put a purchase agreement together for you in the past, and you feel comfortable this person knows your motivations and maybe what you're willing to pay, at the point that you get into a transaction where the property you're interested in is listed and is being sold by another agent from that same brokerage, dual agency comes into play. And suddenly what that means is, going back to the specific statutory terms, dual agents may not advocate for one party to the detriment of the other. So in a dual agency situation, your buyer's agent, if you're a buyer, or your seller's agent, if you're a seller, cannot advocate for your interests to the detriment of the other party, which basically means if there's an issue or if you're trying to get a better outcome or a better result, that's going to be a potentially worse result for the other party. And you might imagine when you're talking about price or terms or post-inspection items, or if any issues come along between purchase agreement and closing, if you're working with a dual agent, suddenly that agent has to sit back and say, whoa, legally I can no longer advocate for your rights exclusively to the detriment of the other party. And suddenly all those promises about how that person's going to negotiate for you and get you the best deal are kind of out the window, because a dual agent is specifically may not advocate for one party to the detriment of the other. So you're kind of on your own, and that agent becomes a facilitator. You're making the decisions without any type of advocacy that's going to improve your situation to the potential detriment of the other party. So just wanted to be very clear on what dual agency is. Now, I run an independent brokerage, so I know there are agents out there who might say, well, that's easy for you to say, and of course you're going to bring this up because you're a smaller brokerage, you're not at risk of getting into a dual agency situation. And honestly, in my contracts, buyer and seller contracts, I will not agree to dual agency. So if a party comes to buy a house that I'm listing, that party can buy the house, but I'm not going to step in and represent that party. And on the same side, if my buyers want to buy a house that is not listed by a real estate agent, I will exclusively represent my buyers, and that seller is on his or her own. So it's true that I may have an advantage being able to bring out the negative aspects of dual agency, but again, it's a legal fact. It's statutory. Again, that dual agents may not advocate for one party to the detriment of the other, and dual agency limits the level of representation the broker and salesperson can provide and prohibits them from acting exclusively for each party. So just wanted to make this clear. When you're working with a big box brokerage and your agent is working for the same firm, the same real estate brokerage that the agent on the other side of is working, you suddenly no longer have an exclusive advocate, which in my opinion, that's one of the reasons that you might hire a real estate agent for in the first place. And one of the things that you commonly hear in real estate advertisements, their ability to negotiate for you and get the best results. So just wanted to make that very clear what dual agency is. If you've got any questions or you'd like further any information, feel free to comment below this video, and I will do my best to get you the information that will be of assistance. Thanks for watching.